Hi, and welcome to Paper Route Scrapbooking. I'm Nadine, and today I'm excited to be celebrating my friend Ginger over on Ginger's Corner for reaching 5,000 subscribers. In this 5K hop, we are going to each be making a layout out of our scraps. All right, so like I said, today we're celebrating Ginger. If you have not yet met Ginger on YouTube, please go over and check out her channel. It is called Ginger's Corner, and she does a ton of things with scraps. So if you love using up your scraps or finishing a collection, that is definitely the place to be. Ginger is also the person who runs our Ginger's Corner Facebook group where we do swaps. So we swap embellishments, and we have swaps in the US, of course, Canada, Australia, parts of the UK. Okay, so if you are interested in participating in that, please get over there on Ginger's Corner and sign up for the swaps. If you just want to see samples of the swaps, that's also a good place to go. There's all albums there that show you what people have made, so that's kind of cool. What else do I need to tell you? Please stop by all of the ladies in the swap, and for sure check out Ginger's Corner's video, because she is giving away $20 to a cherry on top in her video, and everybody wants to get in on that, right? So that's kind of exciting. So congratulations, Ginger. I'm really happy for you. 5,000 subscribers is a big milestone, and we appreciate all that you do for us in Ginger's Corner. All right, so here is what I chose to work with. I am working with the Harvest Market collection from Simple Stories from 2022. I did a workshop with this collection, and so I used up quite a bit of it, but I do, as you can see, have quite a few scraps left, definitely enough to make some layouts. So I thought, okay, let's go ahead and use that. So I printed some fall photos from a farmer's market that my husband and I stopped at on our way to celebrate Thanksgiving with one of our kids, and those are the 4 photos that I'm going to be working with today. I also printed up my journaling and preset my date stamps. So I think I'm kind of ready to go. Now, I definitely have a ton of these larger scraps that I could use, which would make it pretty simple to throw together a layout. But today I think I'm going to take out my die. This is I think this one's just from Temu. And it is a hexagon. I don't know what the measurement is. So I was thinking of trying to get most use out of these smaller pieces because I have a harder time doing that than the other. So I'm going to tackle these first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this die and cut up a bunch of hexagons. And then I'm going to come back and see how far that takes me, and then see if we need to cut in to these scraps as well. Does that make sense? So I'm just going to set these ones aside. I'm actually going to pause the camera and go do that because watching somebody die cut over and over again is boring viewing. So I won't make you suffer through that. But then I do know, though, that this is just a Temu one, but if you get the Tim Holtz one, there's like 5 of each set, so you can run 5 through at a time. So if you're somebody who does a lot of that kind of thing, that would definitely be the way to go. Okay, so hang on, I will be right back. All right, so this is what I had in mind. My photos over here, journaling. I think I'm going to put a title here. And then I wanted like a cascade of hexagons kind of down the left-hand side. So as you can see, after cutting up all of my little bits and pieces and even doing some partial hexagons, so like partial down here, I still have some gaps. So I think these are pretty much done, but I'm going to keep, maybe I'll hang on to a couple because of these little spots up here. I'm going to want to fill in some of that kind of stuff. So I'll just keep a couple. The rest are going to go into the recycle bin. So to fill in some of those spots, sorry, I can't turn my ringer off because I'm on call, but my husband doesn't listen when I tell him to stop. So anyways, just ignore him. Okay, so here is my next idea. So I have these like tinier pieces. A lot of them are just the branding strips, like the back side of the branding strip. Some of them aren't, I guess, but like the back, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, so this is the branding strip, but the Simple Stories ones don't go all the way across, right? So they're kind of smaller. And then some of them are like bits that I cut off of other things. So yeah, they're all roughly like a 1/2 inch-ish. And so what I did was I picked a few of those and I kind of made a little pattern with them, and then I'm going to cut these ones out with that same die to fill in some of the gaps. So that's just another way to use the scraps. And after I get them cut out, I will show you what they look like. And then I just mounted them on this like scrap of white cardstock. So this one was a full sheet at one point, but I threw it in with my scraps because it was damaged. Like you can see it's wrinkled and it's bent in the corner. But I don't throw that away because it's still cardstock and I still can cover it up with stuff and use it, right? Or map photos or whatever. So I am going to take my die over to my Big Shot and cut a few more hexagons, and then we will get some of this laid down and start our layout. Okay, hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, so that didn't seem to be quite enough for me, but I needed a couple more, and I had given it a try the other day with some of the washi. So same kind of idea as what I did with the border strip ones where I just lined them up. I did the same thing with some washi and then cut them with the same die. And so I got a couple of those on there, and I think that that will work out just fine. So that's another way to get some things that match but aren't paper into the layout as well. So what I decided while I was looking at this is that I'm not loving the white background. So I grabbed a sheet of wood grain from my little stack of wood grain papers that I have. And that just goes on the same shelf as my rainbow papers that don't really have a collection. So this one says it's from Echo Park, The Great Outdoors, from, I don't know when, 2012? Yes, 2012. So this is an old one. I do like to search through clearance papers or garage sale papers and find ones that like this that I know I will be able to use in the future, even though they're not necessarily like with a collection, but they are something that I find usable. Like sometimes if it's like a common pattern, like a polka dot or a stripe, something like that, or if it's a wood grain or a ledger. And I always check the B-sides because that's usually where you find stuff like that, right? So like this one has a plaid on the other side. It's probably a lovely fun camping collection. Don't know, I didn't have it. So I'm just cutting this down to 11.5 by 11.5. And I am going to put some Vintage Photo Distress ink, which is the color that I chose to distress the papers on this layout. I'm just going to go around the outside edge, even though I'll probably do it again before I'm done. This one looks like it needs replacing. Look, it's all eaten up on the side. I heard somebody complaining about that one day, or not heard, but read online, somebody complaining to, I think it was to Ranger, about the way that the foam gets all torn up. And I thought, well, that's a silly thing, because if paper is sharp enough to cut your fingers, if you were running your fingers along paper the way that you're running the foam along paper, wouldn't it cut your skin? So obviously it's going to cut up your foam. But I don't know. I feel like that's just one of those things. That's why they made them replaceable, so you don't have to like buy a new one of these every time, right? I don't know. Anyway, c'est la vie. All right, so let's start. I'm gonna just turn my paper and I'm gonna start adhering my little partial pieces across the top first, and then we'll just move down from there, I think, because I already kind of had them laid out the way that I think that they will go, just so that they're not not the same color pattern over and over. And I think I'm going to move these up just enough that I can cut off the yucky pieces because they're not full cuts, and I don't need to add anything in that top little divot there, right? So that's how I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to scooch it up a bit. Just make sure it's flush to the left. And then I will put this one. And this one I'm going to measure more along with the one beside it than I will with the top. And that way I can cut a little more space maybe. There we go. And that way I can cut the edges off of those. So I did cut this one down to 11.5 by 11.5, and then it'll go on that white cardstock, so it'll have like a frame. And I just thought also that would alleviate the problem that I was trying to fix, where I was trying to like put little pieces in up here. That if we put them, if we cut off some of the page, we'll maybe have less of that. Maybe it'll be worse when I get to the bottom. I don't know. It's going to be a surprise. Okay, so this is a full one, but I don't have any else that are cut at the top, I don't think. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this one. And normally I would be kind of annoyed that the two yellows are together, but I had the most of yellow, so I think that that's just going to happen on this one. Just when you're using scraps, sometimes you can't really fix all of that, right? There we go. Okay, now what's next? So then I would want to go to the next row and start kind of there and there and there. So I'm just taking them off the page that I had shown you when I came back from doing all my die cutting and working my way across. I don't like this one. I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't like it because A, we're wearing t-shirts, and B, it just, yeah, I don't like the way it cut. So maybe I will toss that one to the side and see if we need it later. And if not, great. How about one with all the jars? Or I could throw in another yellow, since that seems to be a whole thing. And then I also cut the yellow ones wrong, so they have to be on an angle, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry about that. I don't think in the big scheme of things people are going to be looking at that, and it's not that bold of a image to make that big of a difference. So sometimes I just have to ask myself, like, when you look at the whole layout, is anybody going to notice? No, probably not. Oh, I forgot to ink the edges. Okay. Let me just turn that because it's going to be easier closer to my body for me to see. Yeah, some of these ones that came out of cut apart cards didn't turn out as nicely as I'd hoped, but that's okay. They still do the trick. They still fit the color scheme and whatnot, right? I don't think it matters. I think this is one of those sheets that could go any direction. So it didn't really matter how I cut it, which was good. I wish they were all like that. I would have been easier times for me. I've made less mistakes, but that's okay. Makes it look homemade, right? If it's not perfect. There we go. Okay, so that's kind of my process. I'm going to pause here and finish up laying those all down, and then I will come back once that part is all finished. Okay, hang on. I'll be right back. So I laid down all of my hexagons. I think that's a really great way to use up those smaller scraps, is to use a die or a punch, whatever you have on hand. Even to fussy cut out some shapes, because, or not fussy cut, what am I trying to say? Even to like regular cut, like if you could do this with squares but turn them sideways and make little diamonds, that would work too, right? So think about how you can make your own kind of pattern paper background using those smaller scraps, because look at how fun that looks, even though it didn't really take up a lot of time and it didn't take up a lot of paper either. So here's where I'm at. I got all of the hexagons down, and I glued down my wood grain paper onto my white cardstock. I put my photos down. I popped this one up on Fun Foam, and I'm going to mat my photo with another scrap of paper, or not my photo, mat my journaling, I should say. So let me just grab my trimmer, and we will cut down my journaling bit. So I just taped this scrap of white cardstock onto a regular sheet. So speaking of scraps, onto a regular sheet of printer paper, and then ran it through the printer, and it printed onto the scraps. So then I'm also using up my white scraps. I keep a lot of smaller size white scraps like this one for that purpose, just for printing off my journaling and not using up a whole sheet of 8.5 by 11 to run through the printer. So that's how I do that. Just gonna ink the edges of that. And I was thinking for this one to pull this paper, because as you can see, this color is represented here, but it's not really like one of the main colors. So I feel like if I put this down in the corner with my journaling, it will draw your eye over, because it's something a little bit different. So just gonna measure this, and it is just over 1 inch. So then I'm gonna cut about 1 1/4 for my mat. And then I will glue that on there, and then I'll see where I want to cut the edge off. So my journaling just says, on our way to Nakusp for Thanksgiving, we stopped at the farmer's market in Revelstoke to pick up a nice dessert and stretch our legs. Once the clouds cleared, the fall foliage up the mountains was very beautiful. So it was kind of cloudy when we got there. Okay. So that's kind of what I was thinking for that. So we have that. We need a date. I have. Okay. So before we do the date, I just wanted to show, so like this was quite used up after I punched those, or not punched, die cut those hexagons out of it, but it had still these 2 spots here. And so what I did was I just grabbed my ticket punch and I punched out those corners, and then I'll keep those with my collection kit until I'm finished with it. And then if I still have little pieces like this, I like to throw them into a little tray. It's actually behind me on a different desk right now because I moved it over by my die cut or Big Shot, because I was doing some cleaning up some scraps. But then I throw these in there, and then I pull from that when I need to. And then every once in a while it gets full, and so I give some away to my scrappy pals. So this is kind of that. So basically tiny scraps that were still a little bit usable, so I punched pieces out of them. So we have some arrows, some hearts, some tickets. What is this called? Tab. This is just a piece of a cut apart, or no, this is a piece of a branding strip that I thought could be usable still. And this was a piece from a scene, and I just punched it into a tag. This was from a cut apart card. I was going to use it for something else, but it didn't get used, so I kept it. I also have some of the foam thickers left, apple cider, thanks, and harvest. I have these from the Brad pack, these chipboard pieces still left over. I started using this sticker and ended up not using it, so it's on this sticky with my what's left of my enamel dots from this collection. I also have some stickers left, as well as a few pieces of the chipboard. So that's what I have for embellishments. And in an effort to make use of some of these things, I think I might use this to stamp my date. So I was thinking my date could go just, well, I was kind of thinking it would go at the bottom of my picture, but I don't really like it there. Bottom of my page, maybe. No. Maybe I could put it, if I move this down, could I put my date here? I don't really like that either. Let me see what else I got. I have this ticket I could tuck in there. I like the contrast on that better, so I'm going to use that. So this was another scrap that I just punched a piece out of so that I would have coordinating things to put with my layouts that I was going to keep working on. And here we are working. So that's good. And then I preset my date stamp so I could just stamp the date on here. And that is that. I still need a title. And since we were at the farmer's market and I still have this title in my chipboard, I thought I could use this. So, pop that out of there. And thinking I'll overlap a little bit because I don't need to see that sidewalk piece. But because chipboard doesn't stick very well, I'm only going to add the wet glue to the bottom part. It'll still probably stick to the photo, so it just doesn't hold on to the paper very well, does it? So I'm just going to add a little white glue. I'm going to let it overlap there a bit. There we go. And I want to have it connected, right? I want all the things touching. If a little leprechaun was jumping around my page, I wouldn't want him to fall in the hole. So I don't remember who taught me that, but it's something I think about when I'm making my pages. So then I was also thinking that because this is a farmer's market layout, I would like to use some of these icons that are in here and also on the sticker sheet. I'm gonna drop stuff. Hang on. There we go. So like we were there to buy dessert, so I especially kind of thought like the things that are dessert like I thought would be fun to put on there. I don't know about candy apple, but sure, why not? So I thought that it would be a fun way to make these hexagons a little bit more interesting too, is to add some things like that. So I am going to grab some foam dots. Actually, Actually, maybe I'll use the Fun Foam scraps that I have because these are stickers. So when I have leftover scraps from Fun Foam, I like to use them on stickers because one side of the Fun Foam doesn't have adhesive on it, but the sticker does. So then I can put the not sticky side of the Fun Foam onto the sticker, and then the sticky side of the Fun Foam onto the paper. Ink the edges a little. And then, where is that candy apple? I thought he would be cute here too. Just gonna ink him too. And maybe like a little cluster of things. Maybe I can put these cinnamon sticks there as well. And so I'm just gonna do that with a few of these hexagons just to bling them up a bit and add a little bit of something, and also to get some of my stickers used up because they're pretty and cute and I don't want to just leave them on the sticker sheet and throw them out when I'm done, right? So what else did I have? I had pie, which is super fun too. And I thought same thing, we'll use some of this, oh, this is not the same height of Fun Foam, hang on. I don't want them to be all wonky. This one, I just need to trim a little. There we go. And could we maybe stick a jar of something in behind there, because sometimes don't we use preserved fruit to make pie? Yes, we do. So that makes sense to me. I think that's fun. What else? I also have this piece of cake, which might go nicely with, let's see, what else do we have? How about a donut? Look at this little donut down here. That's pretty fun. And what about this little sign that says 100% fresh off of my sticker sheet? Okay, so I think this is the one I'm going to put on Fun Foam. Stick that on there. So like I said, this is just another way, different kind of scrap, not paper scraps, but scraps of Fun Foam can be used as dimensional adhesive for your stickers pretty easily, because you don't need to add any adhesive, right? So 100% fresh. Now I'm worried about that because it looks like the sign is looking that way. So maybe I'll use this one down here. I don't want it to look like you're walking off the page there. I did change my ink thing, by the way, because I was starting to notice too that it was like dropping little bits of foam onto my desk, and I was like, that's gonna leave ink streaks on my layouts. Don't want to do that. And then this one is chipboard already, so I'm gonna have to add some white glue so that I can make sure it sticks. I probably should have closed my windows before I started, but what can you do, hey? All right, maybe I'll move those up. "100% fresh." Nice. Love it. Okay. Anything else I want on there? What about just some... Okay, well that doesn't want to come out of there, so let's not fight with it. We will have another cupcake, which is cute, so maybe I want that with this cupcake. And then I might take that out of there. There we go. I'll need some white glue too. Oops. Now I'm just making a mess. Okay. So then, what about these cinnamon sticks? Here? Sure. Okay. And then I just wanted to grab, see if I could find anything on here. How about market? How about fall drives, because we were driving. And pies and pastries. Gotcha. There. And then fall drives can go here. Maybe here. Doesn't fit. Okay. Maybe there. And market. There we go. So we have a few little clusters there. And I'm just going to add, I only have 4, but I'm just going to add 1 enamel dot to each little spot around my layout. And then we will call it good. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. I love hearing from you guys. And don't forget to go and check out all of the other ladies on Ginger's Corner, the 5K hop. It will be a lot of inspiration for using up those scraps. So get to it. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye for now.